As you can see, the peach tree is ready to be picked. We're going to go ahead and pick the peaches and show you the rest of the process. Okay, so we went ahead and got the peaches all picked. This is the peaches off of one tree. I'm thinking that's probably going to be enough for 2 batches of peach wine, and then we'll make one off of the other tree. And then we'll eat what's left on the other tree. So yeah, let's get started. We're gonna wash these and peel them and pit them and cut out any bad spots. So on to that process. Okay, so first we'll put some of the peaches in the sink and we'll rinse them off really well with some cool water. And then once you've got them rinsed off, we'll cut out any bad spots. Throw that in the trash. Then we'll just pit them, cut them in half, take the pits out, throw the pit in the trash, and then just slice them up. And I'm slicing them into my scale over here, if you can see that, just so I can weigh them out. We want between 13 and 15 pounds per batch. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then once we get them into here, I've got about a pound in here, then I'm going to dump them into a brewing bag down into a bucket there, and we'll continue to do that. Okay, so we've got 14 pounds of peaches in our pan here with our mesh bag, and we're going to go ahead and add 2 gallons of water to that. And we're going to bring that up to 160 degrees just to pasteurize the peaches, just to make sure that any wild yeast or anything is dead. So we'll go ahead and bring that up to temp and we'll be back. As you can see, we've got the 2 gallons of water in here now, and it's just enough to keep the peaches covered and in liquid here. So we'll just continue to heat it. Okay, and while your peaches and water's heating up, we'll want to measure out 10 pounds of sugar. You can either buy a 10-pound bag. I usually buy it in bigger bags because it's cheaper. And then I just weighed out 10 pounds of it. We'll add that when the mixture gets up to temperature. Okay, as you can see, we're up to temperature, so we'll go ahead and add the sugar now. Okay, so we'll just dump the sugar in and stir it in. Make sure it all dissolves well. You don't want to scorch it on the bottom, so you'll want to make sure you're stirring it really good. Once you get it all stirred in there really well, we're going to let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, so now we've simmered it for the 30 minutes. As you can tell, everything's cooked up in there. Got all the flavors out of the peaches. We'll go ahead and turn off the stove now, and we'll let it cool off for a bit. So our next step, I went ahead and sanitized the bucket. You got to make sure everything from this point on is sanitized. We're going to go ahead and add 2 gallons of cool water to the bucket, just so when we pour the hot peach sugar water in, it'll cool it down and it won't melt the bucket. So we'll go ahead and add 2 gallons of water here. I just use this old juice container to measure. It's a half a gallon, so I will go ahead and put 2 gallons in here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I've tied up the bag with the peaches in it. I'm going to go ahead and transfer that over into our bucket here with our cool water, just so we can get any remaining flavors out of here. And then we'll go ahead and dump our pan down into our bucket also. Now we'll just let that sit for a little while and chill out and let the flavors go into our must. And here's a shot of what our must looks like at this point. We'll go ahead and let that cool down for probably a few more hours, and then we'll come back and add a few things to it. Now that our must has cooled off some, we're going to go ahead and take the bag of peaches out, and we're going to set them in this sanitized strainer over this sanitized bucket just to let any liquid drain out of them, and then we'll dump that in there. So we'll let it sit in there for 20 minutes or so, just let it drain out. Also, while you're letting this drain, you'll want to cover your must with a lid or a towel. Just kind of loosely cover it because it's still warm. We want to let the heat escape. A towel would probably be a little bit better, but that's what I've got right now, so we'll go ahead and use that. I just set it on top there just so nothing falls in it. Let it drain. We've collected the juice in the bucket. We'll go ahead and pour that down into here. And we'll let it continue to cool for a bit. Okay, so now our must has cooled off, and I've got some sanitized spoons here. I'm going to add a few things here. I'm going to add a tablespoon of yeast energizer. Yeast energizer, 1 tablespoon of that. Some pectic enzyme, it's a half teaspoon per gallon, so we're going to add 2.5 teaspoons. Then we'll add 2.5 tablespoons of acid blend. This will help balance the wine. Then we will add a teaspoon of wine tannin. This also helps give the final product a good balance. And then we're going to add a half a teaspoon of potassium metabisulfite. That's going to kill off anything that's left in the wine. So this one's real important. You want to make sure and get this one in. Once you add this, you want to wait at least 24 hours to pitch your yeast, because this will kill off your yeast, so make sure you wait. Then once you get everything in here, we will go ahead and get our sanitized stir, and we'll give it a good stir. Okay, and once you've got it all stirred up, we will just cover it with a towel. That way it'll let any fumes from the potassium metabisulfite escape, but keep anything from getting in it. And we'll just let it sit that way for 24 hours. So it's been 24 hours. We're going to go ahead and stir these up real quick, just to get them all mixed back up. And then we'll take a hydrometer reading. Okay, we're taking a hydrometer reading, and we're at 1090. So that's about where we want to be. So we'll go ahead and start our yeast rehydrating, and then we'll be back to pitch our yeast. Now that our yeast is rehydrated, we'll go ahead and pitch that in there. And now we'll just wait for it to ferment. We'll go ahead and put our sanitized lid and airlock on there. Here's the peach wine about 48 hours after pitching the yeast. As you can see, they're bubbling away, fermenting away. And here's a look inside the bucket, just a little peek for you, just to see what it does as it's fermenting.